Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Sheldon, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. This is part 2 of the Fa review. Of course, I got my good friend Tom.
Hello, everyone.
You should know Tom from as many awesome appearances on the show as last episode. And also, I think we did. He said we did the Rebirth review together. And before that, we played a very interesting game of heroclix on the show. of me playing.
Very unfortunately named game.
Yeah. We're not even going to go into that. Wow. Anyway, so we're picking up on the Fa review. And where we left off, and we're going to start with Alex Power. And just a note, I am sort of frustrated that there's so much power pack. I don't think we needed this much power pack. But we have, I just don't think we needed this much power pack. But we have it for some reason. So, oh well. Sculpt reuse, I think. Yeah, this is like his second outfit. It's just sculpt reuse. So, all right. You want to start us off?
Yeah, I kind of like him. He's 50 point, and in truth, he's not the most formidable in and of himself. He's both a captain and a sidekick, though, so he gets all the sidekick buffs, and he also gets a captain.
Mm-hmm.
Or captain power, I should say. His captain power, he's got a power on his whole top dial. It's a sidestep. When Alex Power uses it after resolution, they move a friendly sidekick up to squares. So, I mean, unfortunately, you're only moving one sidekick to the 2 squares. But interestingly enough, he can actually choose himself too. So that's essentially 4 squares moved. He does have a 4-range triple bolt end cap. It's not amazing, but it's not nothing. Truthfully, though, more often than not, you're probably going to be using him for his barrier functionality and just moving the other sidekicks. Barrier, and then also he gets a free barrier, but he can only generate 2 markers. They can't be diagonal, they have to be directly adjacent. But still, that's 6 squares of barrier. That feels nice.
Yeah. I look at this. I'm not too impressed. I feel like there's a couple of things that you overpaid for. That it could have been refined down to make him better. I would have dropped 1 bolt to get his range up to 6. Like, that in and of itself is a key element that I would have done. Dropped a bolt to get it up to 6. I like the sidestep thing, and yes, he's able to buff himself, but he shows me something that I personally feel should have been there for all the power pack. All the power packs should be sidekicks. Like, every last one of them should be sidekicks, and they're not.
All of them are.
Yeah.
No, all of them are.
Oh, they are? It's not listed here for, give me a second. Okay, because when we were looking at Jack, he's not listed as having size.
You know what? None of these are listed. Hang on, let me look at the actual card. I could have sworn they were sidekick.
Okay, because, because I was going to say, I'm looking on Realms, and again, we can see it, because currently, like, it's Jack, Kate, Katie, Franklin, Alex.
Ooh, yep, you are right. I missed that. So the regular, I thought all of the regular power pack had sidekick, and none of them. So I take that out of my list.
Yeah, they should have sidekick, but they don't, and that makes them a lot harder to use in the current format. I understand they gave them their trait to try to compensate for that, but realistically, that was one of their big things. Yeah, Yeah, that would have made them so much better. But I think it's the fact that they swap powers that they're like, oh no, we don't want that.
Probably not going to use them now because I totally thought they had that.
All right. So for listeners, there is this side joke in which Tom says I don't read, and he'll make fun of me for the little mistakes I get on the characters, and so I'll be like, Tom, it's your turn. Right. It's your turn. You didn't read. All right. So
the karma is real.
Yeah. So overall, like I said, like I just he needed to be tweaked, and just a bit, and I think he would have been fine. I'm fine with the sidestep mechanic. I'm even fine with the barrier. I just think that he needed the ability to just get a little bit better range, and that's about it. All right, so let's go to Julie Power, who is also captain of sidekick, has hypersonic speed. Excuse me. When Julie uses it, you may choose a friendly sidekick that she moved adjacent to during this action, and after resolutions, place that sidekick adjacent to her. Now, if you combine Julie and Alex together, that can be pretty stupid, because it's a place, not a carry. You can hypersonic speed up, do, and then Alex can put up the barrier and sort of protect you. So there is that working together sort of thing that I like, and the fact that she is both the captain and the sidekick is great. And she could just choose her brother to be to come along with her, or Alex can buff her to give her that ability to move that 2 additional squares, and when that happens, she also could bring Alex along. Or no, she can't. Only when she uses hypersonic speed. My bad.
Well, but so here's the thing I really like. You can use that both forward aggressively, or you can use that as a defensive reposition, right? Because she doesn't have to start next to him. She just has to move next to him at some point in movement, right?
Yeah, Alex doesn't fly, so she could carry him.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is I can go and move her with hypersonic, go run up, smack somebody in the face, land right next to them, have one of my sidekicks pop up with me, and then have the sidekick punch him in the face too. Or if my sidekick's already forward, I can run up, punch him, grab the sidekick, and skedaddle out of there to a safe spot.
Right, and when we start talking about what's that other guy that we can just mastermind to?
Yep.
The Fantastic Four Shield guy that I completely blanked his name right now. Jim Hammond. Yeah, when we look at Jim Hammond could actually be really useful with that mechanic. And again, we're sort of like free tossing ideas. This is not like this is free Phoenix Nest super secret tech. This is just us throwing ideas up against the wall.
No, it's just there's some potential.
Yeah, there's potential there. So let's. I think like overall, like Julie is a winner. I think if you're trying to make her so that she's like the core part of your offense, I think that's a mistake. But the fact that they tagged her with both captain and sidekick, that is pretty ridiculous. I think her and Alex have a place in the future. It's just a question of when does the exploit happen? Like, when does the exploit happen?
And let's be real here. I can run 2 Julies. I can have the first one hypersonic up, punch you in the face, drop the second one, hypersonic away after punching you in the face.
And then bring the other Julie back.
And that feels really nice.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Dragon Man. He's the captain. Okay. We have to have the adults here.
The pacifist dragon that was like.
Oh, yeah. So we have Dragon Man, and he's a roll tag captain. Everyone uses the buddy system, please. Free, choose a friendly sidekick. This turn they have passenger 2, but only to carry sidekicks. Now, I will say this. Him at 30 is where I feel like this is worth it. And he completely he makes, what is it, the Vil and Tix, or what, was Vil and, what was the second guy? Woo.
Yeah.
It makes Vil and Woo's thing sort of pointless. Because...
well, I mean, the fact that he has to choose one, it's not like he gives it to all of them. So, and again, we have to remember when we're playing these sidekicks, we're going to be playing like very... So, the more of that you can get on the better, because none of them really have move and attack, so it's going to be a lot of having to have each other. I would say you play him at low, but he's actually not bad at his top dial either. Like, 4 range sucks, but, you know, the rest of him's pretty good. But I think Charge, Giant, Quake, and the rule which happens having him doing a 12 for 4 Quake.
Yeah.
And the new Giant Willpower, he's going to be taking tokens off himself a lot. Like, for 30 points, that's a lot.
Right.
Right.
Right, and I think the fact is that, you know, when we start looking at his capabilities of being both a flyer and a giant, the fact that he can carry and be carried to a degree, because he's not a colossal, it has this degree of use. I'm looking at how he's going to play out in, like, right now, and I don't see him making any waves right now. And this is my main problem so far with this set. I was hoping that this was going to be the back half of the first Fantastic Four set, where they would round out what they had there. What I'm seeing is they're starting another path without finishing the previous path.
I mean, so ironically, there's a couple of figures that I feel real bad to what the Fantastic Four was, which wasn't much. So, but yeah, they definitely are starting a new version without having to focus before, which I don't think is a bad thing.
Yeah. All right. So next up is Adolf Impossible.
So remember when I just said that there were some figures that I felt really carried over into the other Fantastic Four?
Yeah. Yeah. So first off, he's a sidekick. Then we're going to go over into my dad thinks I'm entirely too possible. That's a really bad line. Power. If there is no D6 on this card, roll a D6 and place it on this card. When a character within range and line of fire rolls an attack roll, you may remove the D6 from this card and replace a die in the roll with it. So you have mini-Q. You have a Fantastic Four Q. Like, he is better than what's his name? Question. He's better than Question when we start looking at, like, point cost and everything.
Yeah, plus he's tiny and pulse wave, And so, yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and he flies.
Yep.
So he just zippity-doo-dahs wherever he wants. And the other thing to remember is a good chunk of these sidekicks are tiny. Like, you could, like, the Moloids are all tiny. So, yeah, like, he has a lot of potential and a lot of utility in terms of just being annoying.
Well, he is one of the ones that's on my list for changing around my sideline a bit. The Fantastic Four swap team.
Mm-hmm.
So, anytime you get access to Pulse Wave, it's a good thing. And again, without the probs, a die manipulator is extra. So, big on.
Yeah. So, I think this is definitely a must buy. I mean, the most that he costs is like what, $10?
No, he's already cheap. People don't.
Oh, yeah. All right, so next up is Core. And he is carrying a head. I remember this dude, yeah. Sidekick, our brother, or what's left of him at least. Core starts the game with a Turg token. Free, remove a Turg token to generate Turg by standard, max 1. And Turg has, I'm back! Free, if Turg wasn't generated this turn and is adjacent to Core, remove him from the map and give Core a Turg token. Heads up, get it? Hypersonic speed. When Turg uses it, he has improved movement characters, and after resolutions deal 1 damage to an opposing character he moved through during the action. Yeah. I like this, and I think this is hilarious. Beyond that, I see some uses for it, but not a whole ton.
So, they do get the +1 stats, both him and the Pog, from the other Moloid kid. I like the Pog a lot, just because there's a lot of stuff that's being played right now that doesn't really have reducers, but people kind of are pretty good about keeping it safe. Like, the fact that I can have taxi him up, generate the Turg, and have it kill your Q just makes me happy. And a random shot at whatever else, like that feels nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like, it's not going to shape the meta. One of those things where you might find a nifty little place. And like, legitimately, I could even potentially a J option, even though there are better options, just because it does have that little like headhunter thing for those other that are one click and don't producer. So we'll just pop it out and be like, well, that's dead.
Right. So I think this is interesting. In particular, that you can't just, like, if Turg dies, Core just can't make another Turg. I think that is really important. And there is some points where we could say, hey, look, this character has a benefit for dealing with Tong to get that attack up to a 10, that damage up to a 2. So there is some utility for Tong with all this, with Core and Turg. Still, I feel for 25 points for everything that's been offered to me, I'm not too gung-ho about Core. Like, I think I'm with you where he's going to be on my sideline for me to swap into. And if he's on my sideline for me to swap into, then I better have a plan for Turg. I better have a good plan for Turg. And I think also what sucks is Turg does not have the sidekick keyword or assignment. And I think he needed that. Because to me, mechanically, he's not any different than a sidekick. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think what he does. I think what he does.
Well, and I take that, you know what? I take that immediately right back because I could just think of someone going to tap Turg and then he masterminds the damage back and that could be a problem for it. Yeah. In a world without pushing, Turg might actually be a problem.
Yep.
So, yeah, okay, I'll take that back. All right, let's go to Awesome Andy. And Awesome Andy is a captain. Which is, yeah, you know, it's okay. Wall for Iron, Awesome Andy. You can be whatever you want. Friendly sidekicks can use shape change. That is, in and of itself, is a game changer. Him and Spider-Man just make all of your sidekicks annoying. Then, hello. Invulnerability. When Awesome Andy or an adjacent friendly character succeeds using shape change or is missed by an attack, after resolutions remove an action token from that character. Yeah, that's a bit strong. That's a bit strong. It gives a very good case for him at 70. Yeah, like that to me just says it's a real strong case for him at 70. What's your thoughts, Tom?
If I'm playing him at 35, just to give shape change sidekicks. I don't myself.
Okay.
With Giant, he does get better with the, but it's one of those things where, like, when you're providing extra out of these sidekicks, you want more of that, I feel like. So, like, for me, I would rather have 40-point Spider-Man and 35-point Awesome, or a total of 75 points rather than 70 Awesome. This is shape change to everyone. But I think Awesome Andy's good. Like, it's one of those things where something's going to come along eventually that busts it wide open, but anytime you can give out large amounts.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Human Torch. Now this sculpt looks pretty cool.
So this is the other one that, like, absolutely its way on fantastic. I love this. I pulled him in sealed.
Mm-hmm.
I got a chance to plan, right? And this leadership is great. Him having Mastermind is nice, especially on a team that happens to generate a lot of pogs. But see, his leadership, he doesn't have to be adjacent. He shares a keyword, which he has Cosmic, Fantastic Four, Ruler, Herald. Like, he can actually go on a few different teams. And then he also has a Pulse Wave with knockback that friendly characters have protected Pulse Wave. So you can sit there and do your clustering with a Fantastic, still be getting single target Pulse Wave easily, even though your other guys are in, because they all are all caps Pulse Wave. He's awesome.
Okay. I look at this and I think he is that good fill-in, and he has a lot of potential to be that offensive ranged attacker that your Fantastic Four team may need. I see in my head him always swapping places with Surfer. You know what I mean? Because they're at the same point value. Surfer being 75 points, and fantastic.
Well, and he gets to benefit from that pog that Surfer. So now he has Pulse Wave.
Yeah, but yeah, gosh, I could, like I said, I could see how he works out, and I also see in a world where you have a bunch of mastermind fodder with the sidekicks, how much stronger he could be. And
I feel like he's gonna get slept on a little bit too, because 75 points, he's got reasonable stats, but 11 for 3 is super impressive. No one's like, oh my god, that's the. But again, just the fact that Fantastic Four teams are very, very the current is very placement and formation dependent. The fact that you can just kind of pulse wave your whole team, care, and again, you can get a single target pulse wave while hitting all of your own characters too, and none of them taking damage. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So, I think we're definitely going to say that's on a must pick up. A lot of people are going to sleep on it. If you're playing Fantastic Four, it's a definite must pick up. All right, let's go ahead and move over to Kristoff. This cat has made multiple appearances. Actually, no, he made one other appearance in heroclix, and then I think that's it. But Kristoff, working from the shadows, mind control, sidestep, stealth. Okay, you think I'm mad? Stop, impervious. When this click is first revealed, knock back all adjacent opposing characters 2 squares. I think he is okay. I don't think he offers a lot to Latveria right now. I really don't think he offers a lot to almost anything. Where am I wrong, Tom?
He's definitely going to find a nice little spot inside my tackle box.
Yeah.
He's not anything.
All right. Let's do Elijah. This should be Elijah the Laser Fist, I think is what her name was, or I might be wrong.
That was it in Galactic Guardian.
Is this her? Because this doesn't look... It looks like she's got clay hands or something.
She's a scroll.
Let me check that, because this is yeah, it is Elijah the Laser Fist. I thought so. Why does she have clay hands? What happened? What happened? Oh, somebody has to email me. Tell me what happened to Elijah. What happened to Elijah? Because she got the short end of the power stick. You go from having laser hands to just being normal Elijah. What happened? Okay, so let's go back. Elijah, friend or foe? Enhancement, perplex, but only if adjacent to an opposing character. Okay. Attacking from the shadows, charge, stealth. When Elijah occupies hindering terrain and uses charge, modifier attack and damage by +1. I don't know what to say with this. This is she has the keywords. That's what sucks. She has the keywords to help out your wild cards on Fantastic Four, but that's about it. To me, she doesn't offer enough to be a major player. Or am I wrong on this?
I think that if we're gonna find some sort of need for her, you might play her on a scroll build, but it's one of those things where there's a lot of good here, but I'm not sure that it only sells the way you'd like it to. For me, if I'm going to play her, it's probably going to be on like a double Widow build, because as a flyer, she can carry one of the Widows. She's got Spy, so she doesn't break their keyword theme. The 50-50 rollout given by Scrolls and Shape Change combo is great. And then if she does get hit, really kind of hard to put down with the second shot usually, because she's going to have a 50-50 shape change and a senses, and she's got plasticity, so it's one of those things where you probably get more mileage out of her than you would. Enhancement's nice. The situational perplex is fine. Charge stealth is good. Again, like, she has a lot of synergy with shifting Widow, but I mean, it's one of those where, like, if you find the right little niche for her, she's probably a very good piece. Because for 50 points, there is a lot of good there, but she's not going to be something people reach for on the regular.
Yeah, and I think this also comes back up. You have to have a very specific circumstance with Fantastic Four to rotate her in, to utilize her. With Scrolls, there's not a place for her with Scrolls until the new rules changes, and even then, there may not be a place for her in Scrolls. And that's frustrating. And I know some folks will be like, well, Dark Logo, she said all this stuff about enhancement being a lot more powerful, and she has it pretty much traded. And that is true. But I'm also paying for a perplex that I have to be based in my opponent to use. And if she didn't have that one thing, I think that she would be a lot stronger of a figure. Or drop that whole perplex thing and give me another click. Make her 7 clicks. Then I'd be like, yeah, for 50 points, 7 clicks, I can't deny her utility then. You know, or just her overall ability to survive. Even if that last click was like 15 defense regen or something like that, I would have been like, oh yeah, like still, like you're going to have to put more energy into her than it may be worth it in the future. But as of right now, I'm iffy. Now, I'll like I said, I'll give the credence to the Double Widow team. And going into the future, Double Widow is, I think it got upgrades and downgrades. But still, like I think there's some interesting stuff there as well. But, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing. I think that, you know, she's fine. She's not a bad piece, but she's definitely not something that is going to be, you know, a pivotal piece to the metagame moving forward.
Yeah. So, okay, so we go from all these comments to Nathaniel Richards. And Nathaniel Richards, I won't lie, I got convinced by Tom that he is good. Actually, Tom and Wes, I think. One of the two. And there was the whole conversation about the game going forward. Where does Nathaniel Richards land? And I think Nathaniel Richards lands in a very aggressive spot in terms of the metagame because of everything that he can do. So first off, let's talk about Genius, Intellect, and Skilled Inventor. Free if Nathaniel Richards is holding or adjacent to an object. Remove that object from the game. If you do, choose Nathaniel Richards or an adjacent friendly character and a standard attack power. The chosen character can use the chosen power until your next turn. So there's a lot of things that he can just start with because you could put a light next to him in the starting area, he can consume it and then be like, I got TK, let's go. So there's that. Then you have Advanced Teleportation, where he has Phasing Teleport with Passenger 2. My armor is my own creation, Energy Shield, Deflection, and Toughness. The fact that he has Passenger 2 and he's not a flyer is really good. and then you add in the phasing teleport, and if you're able to take those 2 passengers, you're able to maneuver up 8 squares. So there's a lot to be said with that. The enhancement too with the formation, with the future of the game increasing your range damage is also pretty good. His damage isn't that high, but I don't think it really has to be, because he's primarily a support role, which is again disappointing if you know the character, because this character survived what was functionally like the council of Nathaniel Richards, and I think, what was it, Kang the Conqueror trapped him, I think, and forced all the multiverse Nathaniel Richards to kill each other, kill themselves, and he was the survivor. So I definitely wish he was like on par with that, but he's not. So what's your thoughts there?
I love him at both dials. On his 40 point, the super taxi is nice, and honestly, I really do like enhancement a lot, because going forward, just the range game is going to be very dependent on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. On his lower dial, 25 points, empower, and then just giving out pick a power, essentially. Like, there's so many ways that, like, with them putting Pulse Wave on a back burner, being able to add it to your team at will is just amazing. So definitely don't underestimate what this guy's going to bring to a team.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the big bad. The wow, this is about to ruin things. Molecule Man. Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Here, I'll let you do Molecule Man, because this is about to be a huge problem for everybody.
All right. So first, let's start off. I'm not even going to bother with the 100-point dial. It's an okay dial. Okay. 30 points. This very well may be the best piece in the set. I know Lucas believes it to be, and he may be right. Having played against it, it's brutal. So, he has Smoke Cloud is free. Roll a d6 and choose a number of non-debris terrain markers within range up to the result. Doesn't have to be within line of fire, by the way. Replace those markers with any combination of hindering, water, or blocking terrain markers. At the beginning of your next turn, remove all markers placed this way. So, in addition to the obvious, like if you roll a 6 and you drop a smoke cloud, you could turn that into 6 squares of free barrier, which is pretty cool. He has barrier on dial on top of that, so he has a potential to drop 10 squares of barrier in a turn, which is crazy. He has Outwit, he has Stealth, he has Triple Target and Cap with 8 range. He has Cosmic Energy. So, like, all of those are amazing. But where it gets silly is when you have other characters that do things like, oh, I dropped a Smoke Cloud and I'm in Stealth. Cool, now you're or, oh, I have, Krakoa and I've dropped all those really nice portal markers. Cool, now they're water. The next turn they'll just go away. Mm. So he's the hotness. Like I actually played using a Krakoa dropship team with Maggot and the Atom and Micron, and I can tell you it was a very solid team. This figure single-handedly just was like, yeah, all the cool stuff you want to do there, just no. So.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a fan.
Yeah, I personally feel that molecular manipulation needed to be in a rare slot and not a... I'm glad this is not a super rare.
Well, let's be honest. If you had pulled this as a super rare, 100% you wouldn't be upset about it.
Oh, no, you wouldn't be upset about it. And I'm thinking, like, in terms of the future of the game, I feel like I'm glad Molecule Man is a unique. Because we have complained about like really strong mechanics in the past that they're not unique. And him being unique is very important. Molecule Man fundamentally, in my opinion, doesn't need any equipment. Going forward in new rules, he only becomes more oppressive. Yeah, like he just becomes better. And I don't see a downside to any of his options. And if you wanted to like add options to him, I would almost say it's a waste of time. Almost. There might be some cool equipment out there that might be better, but I think that might... He's just too efficient at 30 points to ignore.
Yeah, no. Play him at 30 and profit. That's all you got to do.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about Ramatut. Right. And that sculpt didn't turn out too awesome when I'm looking at it. Ramatut has Ruler of the Time Stream. Leadership probability control. When Ramatut uses probability control on an attack roll after the reroll, the roll is immediately finalized. Now, he is future in Latveria. And where I am more looking at this as a big deal is finalizing rolls. And I know that, queues are going to roll into the world of the great beyond of retirement. But finalizing a roll to me, is really important. And to have a character just says like, no, none of this dice BS is something that we've needed for a while. He comes in my opinion, at a decent point cost. I wish that he added more to your team, either offensively or defensively. I think he just doesn't do enough as a character. His price point is nice, and I would say this: if you gave me this character for his first 3 clicks and I paid 30 points for it, I would be fine.
Yeah, I think he's a tad overcosted for what he does. 12 movement phasing is never bad. Obviously, the prob does exactly what you said it does, and that can be both good and bad. The one thing he has going for himself is on Latveria theme. There's not a lot of leadership options. There's a few. So you can have, most of the time, I think you're probably going to end up going with Valeria at 30. Or you're going to go with the uncommon Doom from the last set, right? Because you're not usually going to go for 100-point Sue. And I don't think most of the others have leadership that's actually seeing play. I mean, I guess the Doom from the Cosmic Clash has it, but no one really plays him. I still don't think this guy sees play. I think he's neat, but it's close, but it's not there.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Red Ghost. And this is sculpt reuse because I think it's Sinister or whatever. Like, this is his exact same sculpt from previously. And he looks just as dopey as he did previously. So he has Into the Cosmic Ray. The bystanders printed on this card are Super Apes. Free, once per game, generate all Super Apes bystanders. So this could be completely ridiculous if you're able to pull it off right. But yeah, he has Phasing, Teleport, and Stealth with Perplex. So there is Igor, who is Leap Climb, Super Sensitive, Shape Change, and Tiny. Mikhailo, who is Force Blast, TK, and Force Blast and TK. And Petro, which is Charge, Super Strength, and 3 damage. I hate to say it, you have this weird setup where you run up with Red Ghost, drop him off, he generates all 3 Super Apes, and then you have him perplex up Pietro, TK him out with Mikhailo, and then watch him do the attack, and that's functionally, or he's picking up a object or a piece of equipment along the way. Like, that's what he's doing. Or you're using him as fundamentally your entirety of your deploy kit. So you're generating Mikhailo, so you have a TK on your first turn to either TK you out or TK in your equipment or something along those lines. That's the only thing that I see going on with them. They get better in the future, but right now they're okay.
So here's the thing that gives me a little bit of hope for this character. I feel like 50 points, he's probably appropriately costed, which is almost not a good thing anymore. Like, it has to be a little busted for us to really like it. But with that figure from the House of X set that gives the bystanders the +1 to stat, she has scientist, he has scientist. Like, that's actually pretty good. Also, it's worth mentioning, like, animal keyword tends to have a couple of, like, weird little quirky issues. One of which is they tend to not have a lot of TK options. So being able to make the TK gorilla on its own and have this to perplex, like, that alone could see him some play on animal theme teams. Those are both fine. Again, I think the potential's there. You still have the Duke Thomas option, because, like, being able to just dropship swarm something isn't ever a bad thing. But, you know, none of them have autonomous. The one gorilla is tiny, which is interesting. You might actually see some weird little interactions there. But for the most part, I think that you hit it on the head. Like, unless you're taking advantage of the TK or the perplex, you're probably not doing a whole lot.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Diablo. And I know some folks will be like, they have equipment. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to be talking about the equipment separately.
With these both, you really do have to actually, with the Diablos in particular, you really do have, with all of them, you have to measure them with the equipment in this set, I would say.
Okay. Well, we're also going to be looking at the equipment separately, so just keep that in mind. All right, so Diablo. You know what? I'll let you take the lead on both the Diablos, because I've looked at their equipment and I don't know. I'm a little mixed.
Okay, so rare Diablo. I've actually faced him several times in sealed now, and I don't think he's a good piece. The problem with him is because of his interaction with his equipment, right? You have to do the free action in order to activate the ability to use the power on the equipment. So whatever you're currently on doesn't matter. You use the free, and then that turn you can use whatever you get, right? Now, because of that, it's actually very hard to be in the right position. Now, the nice thing is he can pick anything up to the number that he rolled, whereas everyone else with that equipment follows the roll. But the problem is you don't necessarily know, like, what you're going to land on. So, you know, it's like, oh, cool, this turn I can use Pulse Wave, but I'm not really set up for it. Or this turn I can use Energy Explosion, but I'm not set up for it. And the problem is you're doing that off of an equipment, so it's not even like we can give him another equipment to give him the movement attack that he needs. So I find him to be a very ineffective piece as far as playing. I don't think I would actually put him on the map ever. Now, his sideline active trait, again, for any of the sidekicks, you're running him because he gives you a +1 against mystical.
Yeah, and that part, I think that he has a unique advantage. So when we start going into his other trait, Alchemical Mastery, Diablo may start the game with his equipment potion, and when he rolls for effect, you may choose any number up to the result, minimum 1. Do you trust your own eyes? Incapacitate Smoke Cloud. Smoke cloud is free, but only generate up to 3 markers in adjacent squares. That's mediocre. So fundamentally, you pick him up so that you can fight mystics, which is a legitimate thing. The problem comes back is it's captains and freaking sidekicks. I need this for other characters. So again, because Fantastic Four are the only captains and sidekicks, it feels like they're like artificially pumping the Fantastic Four using this mechanic. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Let's go into the Prime Diablo.
Alright, so Prime Diablo is 35 points. Fixes pretty much all the issues I had with the previous Diablo. He's got running shot. He's only 5 range, double bolts, but he's got really solid stats on his attack stat all the way down the dial. 12 followed by 3 11s and a 10. Like that's great for 35 points. So his actual item works a little bit differently, right? But all of the riders on it are really, really good. I like him. I don't know that he sees a lot of play, but I do think his item probably will. And I don't think he's a bad play if you do put him on a team. And he gets better after the rules change because he doesn't have Indom, but he does have back dial willpower. So he actually gets better on multiple levels. And yeah, I like him. He's not perfect, but he's probably, like, for what he does, he's probably 20 points undercosted.
You think so?
When you factor in his equipment and all of the riders that are on it, because it can give out tokens or make it the damage penetrating or do, like, it does a lot of different annoying things to people. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm about it.
Okay. All right, I don't have any additional opinions. I think his range is okay. His base range is okay. Considering all the options that he has access to. If his base range was a little bit longer, I think that it could be. I think he would be a bit more impressive.
Yeah, but if they gave him a 7 or 8 range, he would be like tier 1 meta worthy.
Yeah. All right, let's move down to Stardust, a figure after my own heart that won me a great victory many moons ago.
Well, you'll like this one. This one's awesome.
Yeah. So Stardust is 100 points coming in. Says a being of pure energy. At the beginning of your turn, you may heal Stardust 1 click, which is automatically right there. That's some type of magic. I like that. The first time Stardust would be KO'd, instead turn her to click 7. Protected Pulse Wave. I love that. It's like, oh, hey, I have a stop click. You would have killed me, but you failed to kill me. Beginning of my turn, I'm going to heal 1 click. It's hypersonic speed time. Let's go. Create black holes at will. Pulse Wave. Power. Choose an uncopied square. What is it? Choose an uncopied square within.
Unoccupied.
Oh, occupied. Oh, sorry. I lost my ability to read for a second.
Edward doesn't read.
Yeah, there we go. Choose an unoccupied square within range and line of fire. Then Stardust can use Pulse Wave at no cost, as if she occupied that square. After resolutions, place all hit characters in squares adjacent. Place all hit characters in squares adjacent to the chosen square. The ability to come out and just be like, I'm about to mess up your formation now. I think that is a key thing. And then also, again, like, because you're placing the characters, it's not like they have to go to the closest square. You can put them in any order that you want. which sets up like all sorts of good follow-up attacks. So, what's your thought?
Okay, so I put this thing in sealed, and it's awesome. It is incredibly fun to play. It's very easy to get single target pulse waves when you can just be like, so you're 9 squares away? Okay, I'm gonna put I'm gonna pick this square 6 squares away. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit you from 3 squares from that, and hey, look at that. You're just gonna single target pulse wave from 9 squares away. The fact that you can like shoehorn them in is great. Repositioning the characters is great. Hitting them with the multi-target pulse waves is fun. But where I really, really like it is the fact that I can triple enhancement, and do shield or whatever, and just be like, so from downtown, take 6.
Right, and I think this is a character that really benefits from shield.
And let's be real. If you are playing a battery in any sort of golden or bronze age, like this thing gets stupid.
That's an ant extermination squad right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow, that is ridiculous.
You from 15 out. Good luck.
Yeah. So I want to see the future of this. I really do. I just think, unfortunately, too many people are going to look at the numbers and not really take her too seriously. And in spite of all her capabilities, she's power cosmic or cosmic energy. She is running shot pulse wave. Plus, she has hypersonic speed option. Like, she has everything I feel like you can need for like a major offensive, and she just needs the support to back her up to put in the threat. And truth be told, I'm like assembling a cosmic team in my head that just says this is annoying, and you use some Fire Lords. And now note, is it the ability to take on any and all comers? I mean, no, we have some good options in the game right now, but just purely being aggressive, this piece is ridiculous of what you can do.
And let's be honest, right? If NCAP does become passive to where it starts dropping tokens off of that pulse wave, I am absolutely giving that the ring that gives NCAP.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, poop, here you go. Take some tokens. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah. And it becomes even more devastating. All right. Next up, the other Herald of Galactus that we should have had last Fantastic Four set, but we didn't. Terrax. You know what? For my RPG for my kids, I think I might actually make Terrax, like reskin Terrax for the game. Just thought about that. But Terrax. So first and foremost, he has improvement destroys blocking, which is something that you need right now. And I think maybe when we're talking about like those options of what you need to have for that cosmic team with Stardust, this might be it right here. Then you have the Earth shifts in heaven and heaves and bows to his powerful command. Quake, Giant Reach 3. When Terrax uses Quake after resolution, generate a blocking terrain marker adjacent to each hit character. At the beginning of your next turn, remove all blocking terrain markers generated this way. I'll say this, Exospecs, hypersonic speed, go. I know I've said that a couple of times, but I think with him in particular, it would be great. Or Doc Ock arms, and he charges Quakes. Charge Flurry Quake. I think that could just be sort of stupid.
Yeah, I mean, with Quake becoming more a passive rider, I guess that he definitely will be getting a huge upgrade there.
Yeah.
I still don't like him. In truth, I think that's a character that'll just see the inside of my tackle box.
I oh gosh, here's what's sad to me. When we look at Terrax, let's just one for one compare Stardust to Terrax. And I know the magical, pulse wave is a thing, but when we really look at it, Terrax is able to fundamentally just take more damage, be more aggressive in your opponent's face, and just start causing problems. And I think he gets past that whole concern that we have with Molecule Man, which is, the Donald Trump meme, build the wall. And Molecule Man is the best one at it. And what are you going to do with that being a common staple? You need to be able to bust through the walls, and you can't do the Tri-Sentinel jank that you could previously. So, what do you turn to? And I think Terrax is something that people could turn to if they opened their eyes up and looked at the option. I think the main problem is that it's not going to be looked at because he's not easy. Like I said, I think he needs exospecs, or better yet, he just needs hypersonic speed to be more simple about it. Or he needs he needs exospecs, because at times he needs flurry, other times he needs hypersonic speed, and other times he needs still energy. And he would be able to use pulse wave. So while, yes, it would inflate his cost, I know people, but I think exospecs brings him into play so that he can actually do something for your teams.
Yeah, I don't see him. He's fine. He's not good. I don't think I'll play him.
Okay. All right, so that is the end of our rares. We're going to go into our super rares. Any last thoughts over the rares before we go into the super rares? Or actually the commons, uncommons, and rares. Any thoughts about our basic CUR?
So the whole thing is worth owning, in my opinion. There's only a handful of figures that are they'll go in the box and never see the light of day. If you really, really had to if you put a gun to my head and was like, Tom, you have $50 to spend, and that's it. I'm getting Stardust. I'm getting Molecule Man, Nathaniel Richards, Adolf Impossible, and then I'm probably going to go ahead and bag Prime Wizard and try to get the 2 Mad Thinkers. That's my bare bones. This is it. This is all you get. That's what I would definitely want to walk away with.
I'll say this. Stardust got me at the end. Nathaniel Richards as well so far. I think the Alex power and the Julie power in the rare slot actually got me a little bit more excited for the captain sidekick. I think one of the main things that I am seeing is that I need to see more captains and more sidekicks, and I also need to see how they're going to progress in working together. Because unfortunately for me, the way I look at it, the captain's whole goal is there to buff the sidekicks, and the sidekicks are there to be little punk guys that run around. There's only 1 or 2 sidekicks that I'm like, you're worth it. Like Alex and Julie Power are one of them. Franklin and Valeria are another one. They're actually worth it. I think a bunch of these other characters are just buffers. And you end up in this cycle of, I buff you, is what the captain says, and then the sidekick says, no, captain, I buff you. And it's not enough of a buffing to do anything significant. It doesn't move the game forward. It just I take a token off of you. No, I take a token off of you. like that right now. So let's get into the stupid. Herbie. Let's talk about Herbie. Wow, this is bad. So Captain, my Captain, my Captain. You have given a match to a child who lives in a tinderbox. If exactly one friendly character named Mr. Fantastic is on your starting force, just on your starting force, he starts the game with the Ultimate Nullifier. Now, that's a bit strong to start off with. Just the fact that you start with Ultimate Nullifier, I think that's a bit strong. Then you have Future Foundation Hall Monitor. Whenever a sidekick would be KO'd by an opposing effect, you may roll a d6. On a 4 through 6, instead, turn that sidekick to its last non-KO click and place it in a square adjacent to Herbie. Gain 2 mission points for each sidekick placed by this effect. Mission points, the game ends after the resolution of any action. A player has achieved 20 or more mission points from any source. If the game ends this way, the winner is determined by the player with the most mission points. In the case of a tie, the active player wins. If I'm looking at him as a figure, he's really strong as a figure. Under current circumstances, future circumstances, he is, as a figure, okay. When I look at everything all together, he is stupid. The mission points with him and how he interacts with the sidekicks is a bit ridiculous. And going forward for any sidekicks, because I bet so hard there will be some Teen Titan that will be Herbie's suicidal best friend. And he's just going to run in there, do the thing, and be a problem. And Herbie's be like, "Hey, buddy, I saw that you died. We got a new one back from the clone facility. There you go. Put your consciousness inside. Boop. Let's go." So I think Herbie with the mission points is going to be a problem, considering that mission points can be stacked from multiple sources. I just see that being an issue. And you can't score mission points if you don't specifically have sidekicks and also a Herbie. So, what's your thoughts?
Okay, so the sidekick mechanic with Herbie, I've actually seen it in action, and it's pretty strong. In particular, one of the people at my locals pulled Herbie and Sue, Queen of Atlantis, and a bunch of sidekicks. They ended up winning the entire event because at the end of the day, they just had so much meat shields that they could run Susan up, surround them with a bunch of sidekicks, and have Sue just keep making water until she won the game. And that's literally all they did. They scored. They had less points in every single game. They won on turn 7 every single time, just playing quickly and dropping water. And then Herbie did the rest of the work, keeping the meat shields in the fight. And it was impressive. I actually didn't get to play against the team because I had one match where I just couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. But like I said, it's mission points bring a lot to this. And there's 3 characters that do it. He's one of the 3. We're going to get more in the future. I expect this to be eventually become a problem, and then something else will end up having to come down. But I like Herbie a lot. First of all, 30 points for sidestep and perplex and then defend. That's actually pretty solid in and of itself. He's tiny, so there's a lot you can do with him on a Fantastic Four team. in truth, also a perfect 1-for-1 swap for Valeria Von. So what is that you could go and have him on your starting force. He makes and have a Mr. Fantastic on your starting force. Give Mr. Fantastic the ultimate nullifier, which a lot of people are down on. I actually think it's okay. Do this, and now all of a sudden, you've taken Herbie off and you've taken Mr. Fantastic, but you got a free ultimate nullifier out of it, and that feels good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It to me, it's like you're getting way too much for his 30 points. Like if it.
Yeah, I like him. For 30 points, I don't know if it's too much, but I feel like it's good.
Yeah. So let's go to our next point tally. Mission point keeper. With Susan, Queen of Atlantis. That outfit, though, it's like a little bit Doctor Strange, a little bit Namor. Just looking at it. So anyway, I'm going back. First and foremost, she is a title character on top of a point maker, which I don't know. I feel like those two mechanics should be mutually exclusive. What do you think about that?
I'm fine with them putting them together. Like her continuity is the least oppressive thing ever. Right? Like, when she dies, opposing characters gain Dolphin symbol. Whoop-de-freaking do. Now, granted, because she is putting water down, and the Dolphin with the rules changes coming up, that's a little bit worse, but even still, at the point where it probably happens, I'm fine with that. If that's my punishment for having her, let's go.
Yeah.
As far as her mechanics go, right, like, literally, you can just do her +1 plot point every single turn for 5 turns, and then on turn 6, do her -2, on 7, do her -2, and the game's over. Now, 7 turns is a long game, so in Constructed, I think that it's probably not going to be a thing, but in Sealed, like I said, I've watched her work, because you can just, when you don't have an optimally built team, it's sometimes very hard to chew through all the fodder between her and them. So.
Yeah.
And again, I think someone will probably figure out a way to use her in Constructed. Like, I'm looking at some Golden Age shenanigans. Around here we do play some just regular old Golden Age, so I might use her with a morphing jar and turtle so that I can, pop over into your starting area and just take my sweet time making water in your starting area.
Yeah. So let's look at the points real quick. +1 plot point, and you start with 2 plot points. That's the key thing. These people are under my protection now.
Doesn't even.
Yeah. So the people are under my protection now. Free. Generate 2 water terrain markers in Susan, Queen of Atlantis square and or adjacent squares until your next turn. Friendly characters occupying water terrain. Modify defense by +1. And each time a friendly character occupies water terrain is missed by an attack, heal that character or Susan, Queen of Atlantis 1 click, which that just gets around the fact that she didn't attack. -X, the ocean's terrifying force. Free, generate X water terrain markers in Susan, Queen of Atlantis square and or adjacent squares where X is a number of plot points spent for this action. If +1 plot points were spent for this action this turn, when a friendly character that has a dolphin symbol or Atlantis keyword occupies water terrain, hits, gain +1 plot point. Yay. -2, Storm of Atlantis, gain 1 mission point for each water terrain marker generated by Susan, Queen of Atlantis, that is in a square closer to an opponent's starting area than your own. Mission points, yeah, so it goes into mission points. And all right, so like just overall, we agree this could get silly real fast, and she could just heal up, which I find that a little bit bunk. That she doesn't have to attack and heal up from not attacking. She just does her thing. But yeah, it is what it is. All right, Blackbeard. With Blackbeard, with Blackbeard, I think that we found something that's sort of fun. I don't know if I don't think Blackbeard's meta. It's rating party time. During force construction, characters with the dolphin symbol gain the pirate keyword. Friendly characters with the pirate keyword that occupy water terrain modify attack by +1. That could be sort of fun. Because you can make a pirate gang. I don't think that you're going to make anything too broken quite yet. Stones of Merlin, Blackbeard may start the game with the Stones of Merlin equipped. When he rolls for the effect, increase the result by 1, which is sort of nice because all things considered. There are only a dozen of them. I've got them outnumbered. Quake, super strength. When Blackbeard uses Quake, if he occupies water terrain, each hit character is dealt his printed damage instead of 2, which could be pretty good, and he would, in my opinion, key up really well with Susan or Molecule Man. So that's something else. And last but not least, Hail Blackbeard, Scourge of the Seven Seas, Empower, Leadership, Shape Change. What's your thought on Blackbeard?
Well, first, it is the thing that's actually Blackbeard, which is kind of cool. I don't know if you can see it from the picture, but
yeah.
It is the thing under there. I'm partial to the thing, so I really want to like this figure. But in truth, I think that if I'm using him, I'm either using it for the keyword abuse. I like anything that manipulates keywords. There's always going to be that weird random thing that works. It's just great. Like, I don't know, making whales pirates so that you can make them Spider-Man family or something. But in truth, I'm probably using him more often than not to swap out so I can drop his item and give Invincible to somebody else. I don't know that I'm actually playing him for the sake of actually playing him. Which is a shame. He's cool, but he's just not quite there.
Yeah. All right, so Invisible Boy. That looks pretty cool. Johnny
with his powers.
Yeah, Johnny Storm. Power Cosmic. Fantastic Four. I like this. Running shot, 3 damage, improved target ignores hindering. Look past your cloaking devices. Opposing characters within 6 squares can't use stealth, which is... I think that's pretty nice. That I feel like you're always going to be beneficial to your team. Do not make me go all cosmic on you, man. Energy shield deflection, super senses. When Invisible Boy uses super senses and succeeds after resolution, deal the attacker 1 penetrating damage. I like that. That gives your Colossal Retaliator like a second thought before they Colossal Retaliate on him. Like, I think this is good. I don't think it's game-breaking or game-changing. I think this is good. He has enough stuff to make him annoying and sort of sustaining. What's your thought?
If he was 75 points, I'd be about him. Because he would fit because he was a swap mechanic drop. At 100, he's a lot harder to put on a team. The only way I see myself looking to incorporate him is if Widows or something make a comeback where they have the, like, you can't use the improved targeting. Because then being able to shut off their stealth, it becomes a lot more powerful for me.
Mm-hmm.
overall, I probably don't see myself using him though. Like that's one where if I don't get him, I'm not losing sleep at night. Um, and you compare him to the rare Human Torch, right? And I mean the stats are pretty comparable, and this guy just feels overcosted to me. Like I do like the whole like, hey, I have a 33% chance of missing and then hitting myself for one pen, but I don't think it's enough to make me want to play him.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Silver Savage. Yay, Planet Hulk once again. All right. Charge Quake, Battle Fury. Like, this is pretty good. Power Cosmic returns. Still energy, but with close orb range. I will free all of you. Stop invincible. When this click is first revealed, Silver Savage can't be healed above this click, this game, and after resolutions, remove an action token from all friendly characters and equip Silver Savage with the Silver Surfboard from outside of the game. Yeah, I'm mixed in how I feel on that. What's your thoughts? I think this. I can't endorse this figure.
All right, so as just a general fun with your friends piece, he's amazing. And legitimately, the surfboard's gonna probably find some play, but I don't really see myself playing him main force. Like I don't see because here's the thing: to make the first half of his dial you kind of equip him. Like if he had the arms or something, then an 11 movement charge, 12 attack flurry, 12 rapport feels really good, right? Because he can't use his range for his first 5 clicks, and then by the time they get him to the back dial where he hits the stop click, that's really cool. I wish they'd given him one more stop click on his last click, so that he could keep using his steel energy to heal off of it. I think that would have been enough to where that alone would make me want to play him. But again, that top dial makes me just kind of like, do I want to play this? Like, if they had done like maybe 2 clicks of that and then made the back half of him Silver Surfer as the awesomeness, I think it would be a lot better. But unfortunately, by the time you get to like the really good part of him where you're getting to use his range and all the other things that he has, he's actually pretty close to just dying. So
Yeah. So like
I like him, but he's not a piece that I'm going to play for states or any sort of championship.
He has a decent rally mechanic. The fact that his stop click sort of stops you from resetting your board. It stops you from going above it is a bit frustrating, and I think that's what limits him. And
let's be honest, if that stop click was 2 clicks to the left and we just had more of what follows it, he would be a super great piece. But it's just that's not what he has. Like, having Invincible and still being able to get one shot to death from it feels bad to me.
That's something, that to actually think about. All right, so next up is Awatu. Again, I think Awatu is the worst mission offender overall. As a piece, okay, Awatu, in my opinion, introduces too many problems. And I think that he takes all of the support elements that some other characters had needed, and then he just says, you know what, I have everything that you need at the appropriate point cost, let's get going. So I'm here to observe the important cosmic events that are about to unfold. whenever a character within range uses probability control, the dude has a 12 range, and he's giant, so he can see almost everybody on the field. Okay?
Well, and it doesn't even say line of fire. So it's literally just within 12.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, whenever a character within range, yeah, uses probability control. Yeah, it doesn't even say line of fire. And the finalized result is different from the original result. It's just praying saying if it hits or misses is pretty much what it is. Or fails, breakaway, or anything along that. As after resolutions gain +1 mission point. I'm like, whoa. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Because you could gain a massive amount of points real easily.
Well, and honestly, what I feel like they need to do is they need to rule it that it only counts once, right? Because the problem is I can chain probs in there. So, like, let's say that I have a 0... well, not a 0 attack figure, but let's say I have a 10 attack figure, right? And I'm going against an 18 defense. And I attack, and I miss, so I prob it, 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 and I hit. Okay, cool. Well, that's like, 4 probs that got used on the way. That's 4 mission points for me. Because of the way it's currently triggering. I think that they need to make it to where it's just the 1. And then at that point it's fine. But even if you took the mission points out of the equation, right? 30 points for a giant 12 range prob feels great to me. Like, he can carry someone 12 squares. If he gets hit, he actually is pretty potent. All the way down the back half of his dial. So I really like this figure. Like, this was one of my high priority gets, and then the mission points just kind of put him over the top for me.
So here's how I read it when it says whenever a character within range uses probability control and the finalized result is different. So they have to create a different result from the original result. They would get one. So if it still misses, they wouldn't get a plot point. But
well, no. It's, you have to understand what happens, right? So have 20 probs in between, right? As long as final one changes the result into a miss or vice versa, all of the ones in between count the way it's currently worded.
How so? Just so that everybody is on the same page.
Because here's the criteria. Every character within range uses probability control, right? So a character within range uses... Okay. And the finalized result. So the only result that matters is different original result. Okay. That's when we get their mission point. Okay. And they specify the difference here is a hit becomes a miss or a failed breakaway becomes successful, right?
Okay.
So, again, I have my character swing and he hits, right? And, we prob it 10 times. And in between, I hit 5 of them, I miss 5 of them. But the last one where we stop is the opposite of the original. So this time I actually miss, right? All of those in between count. Because the finalized result is different and they used prob. And so I think that this is something that needs an errata or something to make it to where you can't multi-trigger like that. But currently with the wording that's given, you can multi-trigger like that, which is a little bit of an issue.
Okay. So, like, overall, this figure is going to be a problem going forward. I think WizKids is going to have a major problem trying to balance a Watu. Unless you have a figure that is able to steal mission points or reduce mission points. Until that comes into play, I think a Watu will probably have to get banned. It's just too much, and there's too many triggers that can happen, specifically with prop being a core power in the game.
I think if they just made it once per attack, it would be fine. Like, just make it to where it can only trigger one attack or once per act.
Or once per player's turn. Once per player's turn would be fine as well.
No, just once per any action. If you try to break away, he can only get a max of 1. If you try to attack, he can only get a maximum. Stacking those takes a little bit. And that's the intent of what they designed. It's just not the way they worded it.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to Griever. That's some Cthulhu Goth level stuff right there. Griever. You have Cosmic Herald and Monster. All that you have made, I will unmake. Terrain markers and objects cannot be generated into squares within 6 squares of Griever, which is trying to be like the anti-molecule man for 100 points, but that doesn't work. Anyway, nothing in existence is ever done with me. Stop, invulnerability, regen. I think this is a bit interesting, but I don't think she is enough in the current format. She makes it a little bit difficult for Krakoa to get as close as... No, actually, I think Krakoa can get the same distance. Because it's 6 squares, and I think... Was it Krakoa's what? Within 6 squares of your starting area?
I think it's 5.
5.
Starting areas.
Yeah.
So they have to be 1 further back.
Yeah.
Meh.
But yeah, other than that, there isn't much else. Like, you get super aggressive in your opponent's face, they can't put up barrier. Whoop-de-doo. So,
this piece, I do have a few questions about it moving forward because of the terminology, right? Terrain and marker objects cannot be generated into squares within 6 squares of Griever. First of all, it's worth noting that cuts both ways. You can't make your own barrier, smoke cloud, etc.
Correct.
But where this is really interesting is after the most recent article that they made, where they differentiated between place and place, to where the new place from, when it comes to object, when it comes to things from off map, is going to use the term generate instead, right? So there's going to be, I'm very curious if you're not even able to place your own objects at the beginning of the game once the new rules take place and it becomes generate within 6 squares. That would be kind of weird. So the thing has above average range, right? 8 range is solid. Running shot, side blast, 4 damage, very, very solid stats. Out good, there's a lot of good to this figure, and I still don't like it. It just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. It's surprisingly vanilla for a super rare. If I got this as a rare, I'd be probably a lot higher on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. For 100 points, I'd rather play Stardust.
Right. There's several other characters I'd rather play as well, but like I said, I think the way that this is setting up right now, there are too many downsides with us really looking at the details of it that it's a problem. Now, if you're able to do something crazy in the future, which I really doubt, like sacrifice a piece and you could put, make this character's starting area right up there within, where your opponent would place their objects, and yeah, you could block your opponent from generating objects. That would be cool. But until that magical day comes, I don't see the utility of this piece unless you're just saying hey, I'm in your face. I am going to allow you to strike first, but I stop you from building walls. or placing the terrains that you want to make, just so that I can do whatever I'm going to do. And I think that is a bit of a problem. I don't think that works exactly the way that they wanted it to work.
I do want to circle back 1 second real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed she had a 50-point dial.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that before. For 50 points, I'm a little bit higher on this figure, right? Running shot, psychic blast, 11 for 3, 8 range, stop click. That feels pretty solid. So I like it better for 50 than I do 100. That's about it.
Okay. So let's move on to Psycho Man. Psycho Man, what's up? Like, this sculpt is not. It's not good. Like, I'm looking.
It's a terrible sculpt.
Yeah. For as high a rarity as this is, the sculpt is horrible.
Okay, so I like this object, and he
Oh, the object is broken, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, he doubles its range though. He's outwit, shape change, end cap, mind control. Like, on his own, I don't think he's worth using, right? But what he does to that object, I think that there may be a spot where I actually want to play him just because of how good what he does is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's interesting to me. Like, I'm on the fence with him. I feel like there's going to be some sort of like weird little play that you can do with him that's going to make him really great.
Yeah. I am iffy because there is a lot of stuff that's really good with that emotional modifier. There's a lot of stuff that's really, really good. My only problem coming back is that when we're looking at Psycho Man, I have to start asking some serious questions of beyond, is the debuffing worth 75 points with increased range? And that's what I'm looking at. Now, if we're also looking at the fact that I think it was hate or anger that gives you Battle Fury, the fact that I could just say, like, none of y'all are transporting out of here, I think that has a huge impact on several different mechanics. And if we ever get more vehicles again, just being like, you're not getting inside, you have Battle Fury. I think that is a really huge deal. But until we get, like, I can't endorse him yet. I'll put him on, like, the potentials list. But that object is good.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to Puppet Master. So, Puppet Master. You are all my puppets. Puppet Master may start the game with radioactive clay, which when he uses it, its effects does not KO after he hits with it, which is the only advantage of it. So, what's your thoughts on it?
I love this figure. This figure is incredibly good. With Latveria, he's now hit a really good keyword. But if you didn't like that, you can always go Scientist, which I hear might actually be a pretty good keyword. Who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look, man. The radioactive clay gives him a 10 range mind control with improved target, everything but characters.
Mm-hmm.
So blocking, and this is not destroys blocking.
Right.
It's just improved targeting blocking. Elevated, hindering. So you're going to let me have a character with a 12 attack mind control through everything from 10 squares away? Count me in.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can ruin your day with that.
There is potential with this. My issue when I look at this piece is he's a survivable single target mind control at a very discounted price, and I don't hate it. Where
put him on Ancient Hold or King's Tomb or any of those shenanigan lockdown maps, and just the ability to mind control someone from 10 squares away and make him walk to you so you can administer a proper beatdown. Like, he's so good.
I think here's my issue. What I think I'm having is, in a world where we would play this character, what are we building it around? And I would say it would have to be Latveria. And,
Double Doom Latveria theme all day long.
And I also look at the world in which Bishop exists. How many times am I going to get this off? Because let's just say
you need to understand, though, right? If you're building Latveria theme, you can run a bishop of your own.
No, I agree. I'm just sort of looking at is what happens, and we're going to get into that a little later. And this is something I've been thinking about a little bit, maybe more aggressively lately than I should have. Is when Bishop comes into the game, where do high ranged effects go? And it makes the encounters more intimate. And then how are we actually right now in a place of misvaluing high range just due to how the game classically is being played? Whereas Bishop saying to you, like, look, I'm making this a close combat, short range meta you all haven't caught up yet.
I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think he might bring a little bit of a balance to it, but I think he's going to be similar to what we saw here. Like, Emma Frost had a very similar mechanic, right? And granted, she was 75 points, but she didn't really see play. So, now we have Bishop doing it on the cheap, which is great. But I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of play overall. I think that it's actually going to be kind of narrow.
You're kind of narrow.
Welcome, PJ, to the Starting Over podcast. Yeah. What's your thoughts? You've popped.
I'm going to talk too.
We got Wes and PJ that have popped into the Discord channel where Tom and I are recording. You've already reviewed the set, PJ. What's your view on the lovely Puppet Master?
On what? I'm sorry.
Puppet Master.
He's interesting. I think it fits well on a lot of builds. Like, he's got good keywords. And I think he's low enough point cost that he's, like, super viable. Like, you're not dedicating to it, and what he does, he's very good at doing.
So, I guess my question about Puppet Master is, would you rather play him or 2 humanoids?
I'd actually rather play Puppet Master, I think. Because I'm doing it on Latveria theme for sure. I don't think I'm going to do it on Scientist that much.
That's fair. Latveria matters. I'm a big believer in the Injustice League roles, and the TK is super helpful.
Yeah, Ultra Humanite is still good.
Yeah. Humanite's better than Puppet Master, but I think Puppet Master fits in different places and is plenty fine.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to High Evolutionary. High Evolutionary with the ally tag. Rewrite your genetic code. During force construction, you may add the isotope E to your force at no point cost. And it doesn't count towards your object total, so that's great. The Council of Doom's expert on cosmic affairs. Pretty much you get that +1 attack when attacking cosmic characters. Yay. Stop invincible super senses with his special defense power. That's not bad. He gets it twice at 125, and he only gets it once at 30. I think this is definitely going to be one of those 30-point guys that you play once again. Definitely playing it with Watu for that lovely prob. So, definitely for that lovely prob. So Tom, real quick, your thoughts on High Evolutionary?
I mean, you're definitely going to want to play him on your sideline for the sidekick stuff. I do like his 30-point dial better than I like his 125, but I think both are legitimately playable. Like 2 stop clicks, 19 defense, he's got a lot of good there, but I think that really and truly for competitive, you're probably only going to see him at 30.
Yeah.
His Isotope E works kind of weird. I guess we'll cover that in a minute, but yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'm looking more at him as an ally or as a probber with the Watu. And I think that, I hate to say it, like, prob now becomes this whole new tactic or a more refined tactic with the Watu. And I actually, after our Watu conversation, a lot of things have sort of opened up in my mind a bit more about the general path of the game will be going soon, and it's a little bit frustrating.
So I do want to jump in there, Tom. I disagree with your assessment on how Watu works, because I think it triggers on the finalized roll. It's not how many times you prob, it's how many finalized roll did the prob change. I think
that's wrong. Tom's right. If you use 5 probs and the finalized result is different, you met the standard for all 5 probs.
There it is.
All right, we're going to go with PJ for right now. All right, so we don't have too much more on that. We're going to talk about Isotope E later. Then we're going to go to High Evolutionary Prime. Creator of the Animen. I've seen this before. We've had Animen showed up, right?
Yeah, they showed up under the Black...
The Black Panther. Yeah, Earth X. Black Panther Earth X. Yep, that's where I saw that.
Weren't there some Animen in, like, Age of Ultron? Like the storyline set? I thought so. I could be wrong again.
It could be. Creator of the Animen. When establishing theme teams, you may treat the animal keyword as a name keyword. My isotope can jumpstart the next step of evolution. High Evolutionary may start with the isotope A equipped. When he uses its effects, he may target other characters with the animal keyword. He may still use it to target himself as normal. So that's sort of nice. I have given my word, and my word is my bond. Leadership. When he uses it and succeeds, also remove an action token from another friendly character within range and with the animal keyword. That's pretty good. Relocate my operations. Stop super senses. When this click is first revealed, place High Evolutionary in any square on the map. That could be very interesting. I think this is worth 40 points. I definitely think this is worth 40 points.
I think he's great at both dials, and I think legitimately one of the big hang-ups for Animal is that they don't have a lot of good leadership options. So the fact that he gives leadership and then the object, I know we're not focused on it right this second, but it gives him the ability to do some perplexing, which is another thing the Animal teams kind of needed. And then the errata on him is after the rules change, he lets the Animal theme team prob bonus become 6 instead of 3. So, yeah, I mean, those are all a lot of things that give Animal help, and Animal needed it. Like, he's actually worth owning if you want to put an Animal theme team in Modern.
Yeah.
And they're not super big on using up the primes on the animal keyword, so like it's not that big of a drawback that he's taking up your prime slot. I think he's great.
Right. And even right now, there's if I just hit my like random like let's look at animal, there are a couple of decent just like animal stuff in the last few sets. You have Wolverine from House of X, the Fast Forces, Wolverine and House of X, White Rabbit, Spider Hammer-Eye, Minotaur. Those are some like decent figures. Sabretooth 023A.
Deadpool the Duck.
Yeah. And Wendigos. Can't forget Wendigos because those are balanced. So
There's good in there.
so yeah, like there's plenty of stuff for you to look at. All right, so let's look at Victorious. This bad. I hate Victorious.
Yeah, open trash. Insert figure.
Victorious, like I used to play Marvel Future Fight, and when she popped in, she was not good, and you had to like farm her before you could get the good Doom. And anyway, so you have running shot. Psychic Blast, 4 damage, 110 points, Cosmic Energy, Minions of Doom, all that okayness. By Dr. Doom's side, defend, but only to replace the defense values of characters with Doom in their name. That's crap.
So I'll give him this one thing on that, right? Like God Emperor Doom is a 17, so 18 defend isn't. It's not nothing, but I'm still not impressed.
Yeah, it's not. Cosmic Energy Flare, Impervious. When Victorious moves after resolution, she can use Energy Shield Deflection until your next turn. Now, realistically, this would be better if she would take a shot for any character with Doom in their name. And I would love that. That would be so much better. And it would make her so much of a better character. Sadly, I think there's some unintended consequences with the way that they phrase this. So, if you go, and I know this is like some people will be like, "What, really?" Yeah, I'm really about to do this. If you go and you look at Doomsday, 300-point Doomsday, who has Doom in his name. Now instead of a crappy 17 defense with your 10 attack, 3 damage, you have an 18. I know, like, that is like not what they intended, but yeah, like there goes your unintended consequences with Doom in their name.
I don't know who plays her over a few Doom bots, right? Like, I would just rather have the Doom bots.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the Doom bots are far better. So Victorious is epic fail. All right, so let's keep it moving. Our last super rare is going to be Marquis of Death, and then what we'll do is
first of all, it's Marquis, and everyone keeps saying Marquise. It's actually Marquis. It's
okay.
Not Marquis. He's the Marquee of Death.
Marquee of Death. Okay, Marquee of Death. We're going to do Marquee of Death. Then we're going to end this part, and then we're going to go into part 3, going into the chases and the objects, and then our final thoughts. I might get PJ and Wes in on it or not. I don't know. So Marquee of Death. As we look at his gloriousness. With his cloak flapping in the wind like Face Off. Great movie. So first off is characters. Improved targeting characters, sorry. We were just having fun before we take it all away. Each time an opposing character heals, give Marquee of Death a false hope token. Oh gosh. Pulse Wave. When Marquee of Death uses it, you may remove any number of false hope tokens. If you do, each hit character is dealt X damage instead, where X is the number of tokens removed. Hello, Wolverine. You've been healing each turn. And you have failed to kill me. Congratulations. You're going to get this pulse wave. Shape.
How about them Wendigos?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That could be just as bad. Shape reality to my own vision. Energy explosion. When Marquee of Death uses it, for each hit target, you may choose that they are healed one click. Are healed one click instead of being dealt damage. This can be annoying for a bunch of people. But in particular, are you playing Hulk? Did you finally get Hulk past click 1? Congratulations, Hulk. You're back on. You're back on Earthbound neutralized.
Well, and here's kind of one of the more interesting things you can do, right? Is you can go and energy explode with your own figures in there and be like, hey, your guy's going to take damage, but my guys are going to heal. Because you get to choose for each figure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so Heal Blast. Literally a Heal Blast. So he has 200 points, and he also has 60 points.
I think Wes said it best, right? You know, at 200 points you might have 3 stop clicks, but at 60 points you also technically have 3 stop clicks if you play 3 of them. So,
gosh, dog, y'all. Wouldn't they all trigger?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be something.
And I had the time of my life.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, so with that singing outro to tribute to Dirty Dancing, that's it for part 2. We're going to go into part 3. Again, tell me what you think of this with random guest appearances by random Phoenix Nest members that have shown up inside the Discord and didn't notice that we were in the recording channel. All right. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Let me know if you like what's going on, and we'll